It's time for No Pad Sports Talk. Stay tuned as two brothers bring you the latest from your Michigan teams and beyond in hockey, baseball, football, and more. Let's get started. Here are your hosts, JD and Steve.
Welcome back to yet another edition, a special edition of No Pad Sports Talk. I am one of your hosts, JD.
And I'm Steve.
A little delayed, but that's all right. He's
sorry. I'm trying to multitask here. I'm trying to update our social media stuff at the same time. So I started something and it's not finished. So there we go. Okay, that one's finished. Let's move on.
All right, we're good now. We're good. All right. So we want to bring you a special episode here because we just released an episode. We recorded it yesterday, Wednesday. And due to the releasing the timetable and stuff, it actually didn't release till, I think, like Thursday morning. But here it is Thursday still, and we just kind of wanted to talk, one, about the Tigers versus Angels, and about the Angels' moves that they made. Well, move, I guess, technically.
Yeah.
Speaking.
So where do you want to start? Let's talk about the move first.
I think so.
I think that leads right into the game.
Yep.
Right? So yesterday, my brother, I asked him, where he thought the Angels stood as far as trading Shohei Ohtani with the trade deadline being August 1st. I was on the team of, I think they need to trade him because I don't think they're going to be able to keep him next year. So might as well get something for, while you can, right? Because he is that kind of player, and he's the kind of player that's going to garner a lot of talent in return, I guess.
Yeah,
potential
absolutely.
Talent in return, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at JD, in that same breath, mostly agreed with me as far as that, having the Angels trade him because he couldn't see them being buyers. But right at the end, like I feel like it was like the last 30 seconds before we closed out, he's like, let me throw you a curveball. Right? So this curveball was the Angels don't trade Shohei Ohtani. And, brother, what happened? I swear it was like 45 minutes an hour after we got off and finished the episode.
Yep.
What happened?
We had a message pop up, a big news story, right? Report that Angels are not going to trade Shohei Ohtani, and then shortly after that popped up, Angels made a trade.
Right.
So,
So it was just ironic that you said that, and then all of a sudden, I gotta believe, because you talked about it on the episode about what teams thought they had the best chance of getting him next year as a free agent.
right.
And what teams would be willing to give up a lot of talent to get him as a half a year rental, right? And in the end, I think that's where they're not going to trade him at all. Maybe came in, right? Because the price was going to be too high for that half a year rental, unless something like the Dodgers were able to pull it off and get him in now, right, and then sign him to a contract.
Well, I was thinking two teams. I thought there'd be two teams that might be willing to pay the price for Ohtani. And, let me rephrase that. I think one team would have been willing to pay the price, which would have been the Texas Rangers. I thought that they were probably the most likely candidates to trade a bunch of their minor league ball players for Ohtani because they got a real shot for this year, I think. And the Rays, I thought, in my opinion, that the Rays should do it because they're struggling. They're spiraling down. I mean, they're getting ready to tank. And and someone like Ohtani could really just give them the shot in the arm they need to bounce back. And so that's why I thought that the Rays should. The Rangers had the best chance to. And everybody else that's been mentioned, like the the Reds, the Orioles, etc. Why give up your young guys when they got you where you're at now? The Yankees, bottom, like they don't really what
They're not
they're not in it. Like they're not.
Yeah, they're not
competing,
contenders right now.
The Red Sox have to give up too much as far as like Marcelo Meyer and Brian Bello and stuff, and I just don't think any of that was really possible. And and after the trade or after the announcement came out that they were not going to trade Ohtani, you had people coming out saying the reason why was the offers for Ohtani was underwhelming. So I think that was part of it, because again, you look at the two main teams that could use him this year on the West Coast, but are also the two most likely to land him as a free agent, being the Giants and the Dodgers. If you're the most likely team to land them, why would you give up all your supporting cast that you could put around him next year?
Right.
So that's why I just thought that the offers weren't going to be what you see some of these trade scenarios, and they're kind of crazy. You're talking 3, 4, sometimes even 5 top 100 picks going, for Ohtani, and it's like, man, all that for like a 3-month rental that you have no chance of re-signing. Like, it just didn't make a lot of sense,
right,
to me, anyways. So I just thought, I didn't think that there was going to be a ton of return. I thought that what might have been, and this wasn't my thought. I read this, and I don't know who to credit because I don't remember who I read it from, but I thought what might be a good idea for the Angels is to push the reset button, and just go ahead and try to get rid of big contracts, Ohtani, Trout, Rendon, and whatever you get from you get, but try to press the reset button and start playing some of your younger players. That's what I kind of thought that might have happened, but again, I still thought much larger chance was nothing was going to happen. Ohtani was going to stay, and they were probably going to try to do what they could to put other players around them this year.
Okay. So, right after that news broke, couldn't have been another, 45 minutes, an hour after we got that. I know it was almost with the same time frame. It was almost within a 1 hour block. Yeah. Got another email or another notification that said, Angels made a trade. And they picked up a left-handed pitcher and a catcher, or was it a right-handed pitcher?
So they picked up Kai Bush. Kai Bush is a lefty.
Okay.
Yeah. But Kai Bush was drafted in the 40th round, man. Right? Like.
Yep.
So not a high pick, but it was drafted by Kansas City. Eventually, Angels got a hold of the guy. Because he didn't sign with Kansas City back in 2018 or whatever it was he got drafted in. Then the Angels eventually drafted him in 2021. So he was drafted twice, so obviously was thought of as a pretty high prospect, even being drafted at age 18 out of high school, even if it was the 40th round. And then again, like I said, in the second round they drafted him back in 2021, and I think that was the year they took nothing but pitchers, if I'm not mistaken. Now, Bush is a big dude, 6'6", and he has actually had a couple good minor league seasons, in A-ball and stuff like that. But last year he kind of tanked a little bit, or was it this year? I'm sorry. Is it this year he tanked? But he wasn't really having that good of a year. Last year he ended up. No, it was this year. Earlier this year, he was having an ERA of like 7.2, right? So. But hey, he didn't throw that many innings. He's only got 30 innings pitched, so you never know what's going to happen. But 7.2 ERA. But I think in my opinion, the prize of this trade, if you are the White Sox, is going to be the catcher Edgar Cuero. And he's a smaller guy at 5'11", 170, but he's a switch hitting catcher out of Cuba. And last year the guy had a great first year as a pro in regular A-ball. The guy hit .312 with 17 home runs. Had an OPS of 965. The guy really looked like he was going to be a star. This year, not as good in Double-A. Not bad, especially for a catcher though. Still batting .246. His OPS dropped from 960 down to 718. His power is not there yet. Only 3 home runs this year, but it's not really a knock against him. He's still only 20 years old, playing in Double A, so kudos to him. I'm actually a fan of Edgar Quero, and so for me, if I was a White Sox fan, that's what I'd be looking out for. That's what I'd be excited about getting in return. So
Yeah. According to this article here, it says Quero is ranked number 65 prospect, but the pair on the Angels farm system, they're actually ranked 2 and 3, the pitcher and catcher, in their farm system. So, as far as what you're giving up to what they're getting, right? So they're getting some because the Angels got pitching, right? I think they were both pitchers.
Yep.
That came in that, correct?
Yep. Yep. Well,
So
the return for the Angels was great, right? When you're looking at, excuse me, when you're looking at, first, you have to compare what did they give up for what they got,
right.
because that's. But Lucas Giolito is a great pitcher. He really is. He's having a rough year this year. The last few starts he's had, he's looked a lot more like himself. And right now, as an Angels, that's what you need. You need a starting pitcher, and Lucas Giolito is probably the number one pitcher on the trade market. So, you got him. And what'd you give up? Edgar Quero, even though I like him as a catcher, you got your catcher of the future in Logan Ohtani. And it looks like, I know he's injured right now, but it looks like he'll be back before the end of the season. So, hypothetically, if the Angels could sneak in the playoffs, he could be there to help them in the playoffs, which would be huge, because when he was in the lineup, I think he was definitely a difference maker. But yeah, Lucas Giolito, you got him. Reynaldo Lopez, he's an arm, a bullpen arm. And right now you have a lot of injuries in the bullpen. Now, when you're speaking about the injuries, as far as like for the Angels, the good news is a lot of them are getting ready to come back. Zach Neto's day to day. Ben Joyce, there's talk that he might be ready again by the end of the year, kind of like Logan Ohtani. Mike Trout should be coming back in the next couple of weeks. Rendon next couple of weeks, at least before Rendon gets hurt again. Like I said, I already talked about Ohtani possibly coming back. Bachman could be coming back soon. Joe Adell. So there's a lot of injured players right now that not only will help solidify those positions, because again, a lot of those players are going to be bullpen arm starters, etc. And my brother ended up getting disconnected here, so he might jump back in. But anyway, so I guess it's just me for now, which okay. I guess we'll continue doing this. So yeah, it's Angels buying is a surprise. If I was a GM, I would have taken what I could have gotten in return for Ohtani. I still think that's going to be the long-term health of the organization was to trade him, unless somehow ownership, GM, etc. got some sort of news from Ohtani's agent that maybe if they make the playoffs, he'd be more willing to sign with them. I guess that's a possibility. But if he didn't get that, notification from the GM or from his agent, I think it's probably a mistake. I mean, even if you got just 2 prospects in the top 100 versus what you're expecting to get like 4 or 5, like, yeah. If you don't have a chance to re-sign them, give them up now. 4 games out of 500, or 4 games. I'm sorry, 4 games out of the final playoff spot. It's gonna be exciting on the stretch, but what the Angels gave up to get Lucas Giolito, it was a good move. It really was. It was a good move for the Angels, and we'll just have to see how that pays off for them. I'm not really an Angels fan. I'm an Ohtani fan, so hey, good luck to him. And then I think lastly we have to kind of talk about the game today. I know the game between the Angels and the Tigers was postponed, and Ohtani was not scheduled to start any of these games against the Tigers. But after the game got postponed, Ohtani's start got moved up by a day, and he actually started the first game of this doubleheader. And my brother's back! Yay! Kind of. He looks like he's still having internet issues, um, but anyways, so Ohtani started this game, right? And wow, impressive, impressive, and we have to give him just a little bit of a clap here. We have to. We got to give it up for Ohtani. It was impressive. It was impressive. So, you know, the final line for Ohtani, all right? Oh, jeez, my computer's acting up kind of wonky. But the final line for Ohtani, as far as pitching goes, his first complete game of his MLB career. So, congratulations, Ohtani. That was awesome. Only gave up one hit the entire game. Only walked 3 batters and struck out 8. I mean, it was a masterclass of pitching. Now, he did go 0 for 5 in the game, so all right. But as far as pitching goes, masterful. Yep. No. No, not even close. um, uh, so I sent you something. This was months ago, I think. But there was a thing I saw that said last time a team had a pitcher throw a complete game, and there were some teams that haven't had a pitcher throw a complete game in like 4 years or something. So yeah, it goes to show you, it's definitely getting worse because again, one thing we have talked about in the past on our podcast is the third time through the lineup. These hitters are starting to be able to adjust and start hitting even some of the best starters. So the coaching staff doesn't take any chances. A pitcher goes 6 innings, maybe 7, and that's it. Like why press the issue? And they start taking them out. So that was great. That was great by Ohtani, though. Already hits, really. Yeah. And yeah, the Kerry Carpenter got the only hit for the Tigers, and like Torkelson, Vierling, and Zach Short walked. That was it. Like that was all of our base runners. So that was great. All except for Riley Green. He was unfortunately silent in this game. So, but yeah, I'd like to have seen Riley Green do something. But yeah, but the middle of the lineup between Green, Torkelson, Carpenter, and Vierling has been great. I've really enjoyed watching those guys kind of be back to back to back to back. I would do a little bit different in the lineup though. Personally, I understand why Vierling's batting 5. I do because of his ability to get base hits, good on base. So if you got Riley Green, Torkelson, or Carpenter on base, you can count on Vierling to kind of get them in. But I am just not a fan of McKinstry batting leadoff. I'd rather have Vierling bat leadoff, Green bat 2, Torkelson 3. Like that with this lineup, even though they only got one hit, like it was pretty close to how I would personally play it right now with the players that are on the system or players that are on the team. Not counting anybody else in AAA or whatever, except for I would just probably swap Vierling and McKinstry. That's all. But yeah, I mean it was. No, go ahead. You're good.
My internet yesterday we had lost power.
And more than likely, it's not going to. The platform we record on, a lot of times when someone ends up dropping or something like that happens, I don't know. This thing just like weirds out and just like spazzes and things just don't work right. So, but we hope so. That's all we can do.
Yeah, well, this thing.
That could happen. That could happen. But yeah, at any rate, like I said, today was just gonna be a quick, short bonus video, just kind of reviewing the trade. It like Steve said, it came pretty quick after we got done recording our previous video, and like right away we're like, yeah, we want to go ahead and set up another time to record. Steve's going to be gone over the weekend, so we're not going to do our normal Sunday thing, and we're going to try to recap all of not free agency, trade deadline, on like Tuesday or Wednesday is what we're planning on doing if we can. So anyway, you have anything additionally you want to add, Steve, to the video today? What we're trying to talk about? Yeah, I'm thinking so too. Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure I'll probably have some of that more other things on the recap too on our normal show. But yeah, and there was some other trades that started coming down, and it's going to be a very busy weekend, I think. And we'll see. I know Verlander is listed as a pretty likely trade candidate if he waives his no trade clause. Right now, most people are expecting that to happen, like within minutes of the trade deadline, if he's going to waive it and accept the trade or not. So, and I think he will. Verlander wants to win, so if he gets traded to a team that is in contention, I think he'll take it because he just wants another chance at a championship. So, but I'll go ahead. Yeah, we are. Yep. We shall see. But thanks everybody for listening. watching, whatever you do. Again, it's available on podcasting or on YouTube. And again, thanks, and talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to No Pads Sports Talk. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, help spread the word by leaving a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on social media at No Pads Sports Talk.